Welcome to Advanced Automation, a podcast by Calvary Robotics, where you'll find industry leaders and experts sharing their thoughts on the world of automation.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. I'm Josh Gravel, your host for this installment of Advanced Automation. Today, we have with us Kyle Kopac. He's the product manager for vacuum automation at Schmaltz. Kyle, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Josh.
Yeah, appreciate taking the time to talk to us. And we're going to be kind of diving into the growing popularity of autonomous robots and manufacturing and processing. But before we do that, I want the listeners to learn a little bit about you, your history, what got you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Yeah. My history is very math and science heavy, actually. I grew up in Raleigh, which is where Schmaltz is located. So real familiar with the area.
And warm, nice weather.
Warm, nice weather. Yeah. As we're creeping into
I don't get up in Rochester, upstate New York, Western New York on a regular basis. So. But enough about here. Keep going.
Pros and cons.
Yes.
So yeah, I obviously like the area enough to stick around. I've been really into math ever since grade school, and I kind of knew I wanted to do something math based and something hands on, as I just wanted to break everything growing up and take it apart and see how it works. I eventually landed in NC State, which is also based in Raleigh, in the engineering program. So they have a really good mechanical engineering program, which is what I went through. Yeah, through college, I actually did some HVAC work in the field, actually. So with residential and commercial, and so I kind of have been hands on. We keep the streak alive for being hands on mechanical, and then actually I've been now with Schmaltz for 8 years, doing a couple different roles, and have landed at the product management role that I'm at right now. So yeah, 8 years is a good amount of time to be in the industry, but also, yeah, I know a lot of people have been doing it a lot longer too. So I'm excited to hopefully join the ranks of long timers.
That's awesome. Yeah, I actually am the same amount of years here at Calvary Robotics. So I get what you mean, just long in the industry, but not long or long for your career, but not long particularly in the industry. So that's really cool. Congratulations on your time.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. How about you tell us a little more about Schmaltz for anybody who might know or just needs a little refresh?
Yeah. Schmaltz is a German company. They've been around for about 100 years now, actually doing, they started off with razor blades, believe it or not. It's actually 100% family owned. So currently,
cool.
And 100 years ago, it was still family owned, passed down a generation from razor blades to carts, primarily for the airport industry, and then passed down a generation, and the current gentleman, actually brothers, who are on the board, moved to the vacuum automation space. Yeah, we do just about anything. We primarily do material handling for vacuum, but we do a couple other vacuum-based things. And yeah, we have a litany of products if you need to pick it up with vacuum, odds are Schmaltz has done it before. We have a manual handling division that focuses on like vacuum tube lifters and hoist-based systems. And then we also have our robotics division, which is where I sit. So gantries, robots, just basic components with some of our smart ejectors and pumps and blowers, and you name it. We have a very large toolbox of vacuum components to make a full system at Schmaltz.
That's wonderful. Are you guys you're global?
We are global. Yeah.
I mean, you already said it's Germany, but so you have a place across the globe, different locations. Then
yes,
that's really nice.
That's great. I think we're up to 31 locations now. So yeah, we have our U.S. location is here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we've been here, I want to say, 25 years. We just hit our 25-year mark not too long ago. but yeah, most we have 31 locations around the world. Canada, Mexico, absolutely. We're in constant communication with them, being our neighbors, and then everywhere else in the globe as well.
Wonderful. Can you, before we dive into the topic today, also what is it working with for your clients? I guess I like to ask a lot of the guests on the show what it's like being partnership and working with Schmaltz. Are a lot of your customers, are they end users, are they system integrators, they both, and how is that relationship, how does that play out?
Yeah, absolutely, good question. They're both. So Schmaltz has a system of outside sales people who are Schmaltz employees scattered across the US. And then they interact with their territories with both end customers and system integrators. We see both sides of that coin.
Cool. Now, so say whatever the customer, and they have a newer application, and there isn't something exactly out of the box that you guys have. Do you guys work then with the customer to develop, a new kind of product, or how does that go about? Like for your guys, I guess just in products in general, how does that work? Does it kind of spur from the customer's needs, or you guys are kind of in the field yourselves looking at stuff?
Definitely a little bit of both. Yeah. So the vacuum space is a little niche, I would say, compared to things like cylinders and valves and even mechanical grippers. So a lot of times when a customer or an integrator come to us with a specific application, we might have a solution that they didn't even know we had that already exists. So
For sure.
yeah, so hopefully, and that's a win-win for everybody because that's an off-the-shelf product, very quick lead time, low costs. If we can show that we already have a solution or something that they didn't think would work that actually does work, then that's a win. But we absolutely do custom projects as well, especially for bigger customers or for something that we see that's definitely going to have a growing need in the future, or just for a really unique opportunity. Schmaltz actually does put a pretty high percentage of R&D. I don't know what we're up to now. It's at least like 5% back into the company. So sometimes we're willing just to kind of take on those weird projects and make a unique product just to do it.
Oh, that's so cool. How many products roughly do you have in your catalog? Do you have an idea?
I do. I think, I don't know if we say we have 10,000 like customer facing, but yeah, it's at least 10,000.
At least, yeah. I think that's a lot. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's a good showing. All right. Well, let's dive into the autonomous robots, in manufacturing processing. But I think we want to sort of define what autonomous robots are, right? Are we talking cobots, AGVs, industrial robots, AMRs, that kind of thing? You want to field that question for our listeners and kind of dive into the definition?
Absolutely. Yeah. Autonomous robots, I would consider all of those autonomous robots. I would consider the most common autonomous robot most of us are used to now are the just industrial robots, which are amazing. I to people who don't deal with them that often, and when I started in the industry, it's fantastic to watch them work day in and day out as repeatedly as they do. And then after you've been in the industry, I don't know, it was a couple year mark, they do become kind of routine, but they are still amazing. So I would consider that kind of like the base level for autonomous robots. And then we can put like automated gantries kind of in that category. Cobots I would include as next, kind of. They've taken off recently and have the very precise force feedback sensors in them that kind of add a level of intelligence that makes them really useful, although they're not as fast. And then AGVs and AMRs, I feel like are a that's probably the first thing people in the automation space will think of. Actually, when you say autonomous robots, they'll probably go straight for like AGVs and AMRs, and they're starting to pick up pace as well, I feel like now.
And for those who don't know, the
yes,
acronyms.
AGVs, automated guided vehicles, and AMRs are going to be autonomous mobile robots. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. The guided vehicles are going to be more. They're gonna have something that actually directs them through the facility, whether that usually is something like on the ground that they actually follow. And then AMR is going to be your probably the most autonomous thing out in the market right now. They're going to be able to use just sensors and LiDAR and stuff on them in order to navigate their way through a facility on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for kind of clearing that up so we can kind of move forward and just talk more generally about some of the products you guys have in the, the field that's going on right now and some of the challenges that you might face, but the solutions that Schmaltz products offer, in the autonomous robotics, field.
Yeah. Good question. Especially the challenging part of that question. For your standard industrial robots, we offer a lot of solutions for those. So those would be, I feel like those are still absolutely the bread and butter autonomous robots that we're working with, especially with systems integrators. Usually end customers, I feel like working with kind of standalone components for them, just kind of like suction cups, and smaller stuff, some gaskets. But once you go to working with integrators, I feel like a lot of the projects that we're dealing with them involve an industrial robot, and we have the full toolbox for products available to make an end of arm tool to go on that industrial robot. We actually do even have a division in-house in Raleigh of applications engineers and designers to design the whole end of arm tool and assemble it here in Raleigh and ship it assembled. But we can also use those same designers and applications engineers to help people build their own tool as well. Yeah, everything on that tool, Schmaltz can pretty much provide. So suction cups and your vacuum generator for a vacuum tool are pretty much the essentials. You need something that actually touches the product to be able to pick something up with vacuum, and you need a way to make the vacuum. And then everything in between, eventually find out that you need as well. You need some type of way to account for the z-axis stroke, or if your product moves, you need a way to account for the variability in your products. You need sensors to be able to tell you what your vacuum level is. Sometimes you absolutely need filters for most applications, I would say, and then valves, specifically vacuum rated valves. Yeah, all the intelligence that goes into vacuum generators as well to help with preventative maintenance over time. That's kind of the industrial robot space. Cobots, we've come out with pretty much an entire portfolio of collaborative robot-based tools, because the need for those are lightweight, specific mounting flanges. In the collaborative robot industry, I feel like people are coming together onto more common flange patterns, and so that kind of makes it easy to come out with more off-the-shelf products for those. And also at collaborative
Harmony.
Yes.
It's just like things. Yeah, it's really awesome to hear.
Please.
I know that's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
Please. More of that. Get together, everyone.
Yeah. But yeah, I personally feel like in the collaborative space, not many people are using them to have like a human right next to them. We've designed a lot of our tools with that in mind still. So they've got soft edges, or maybe they have a foam side, so that they're more collaborative friendly when you do like a risk assessment on our tools on collaborative robots. So that's
Are you seeing it more people are just people just kind of needing to go into the area? Is that kind of what you see more than people working like next to?
Yes. I feel like I'm actually seeing they're pretty easy to set up. I feel like actually one of the cost perks of collaborative robots is that you don't need fencing. So you
Mhm.
can kind of take that out of the equation when it comes to like total costing on the robot cell. So I feel like as a not integrator myself, I feel like that's a pretty big feather in the cap of collaborative robots. Where industrial robots, you kind of do need fencing in order to make them
Sure.
safe. Um,
Right, right.
yeah. And then, yeah, going to so industrial robots, collaborative robots, AMRs and AGVs, unique in that you don't have they're mobile. So for vacuum, for any kind of vacuum system, or if you want to do anything with them at all, really, it needs to be electrified. You can't rely on compressed air, which has
Mm.
historically been a really easy way to make vacuum is just with like a venturi nozzle that you send compressed air through and it makes vacuum. Yeah, once you have a mobile robot, you really only have access to battery on board the robot somewhere. Usually that's 24 volts. So um, making all the components now low voltage electricity is an
Right.
interesting thing to do, and something that we've already come out with a couple products that do.
Awesome. What are your main industries that you see your products going to? I know you're across the board, but what are your more kind of custom ones that you, or the ones you see the most?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I actually love the way Schmaltz sets up themselves to be based on industry. So yeah, so if you go to our website, you're going to see like a breakdown of our components by industry, and the big ones are absolutely palletizing or logistics. So handling boxes, really, a fancy way to say handling boxes, and I would say metal slash automotive is a really big industry for us. Wood and glass are big industries for us, and then and then it kind of goes into a little bit more maybe niche industries. We have battery, we have food, but yeah, packaging and glass and metal and wood, I would say, are the big ones. And yeah, packaging is just crazy. Pretty much every product at some point needs to get packaged, and
Sure.
handling it with vacuum is kind of, I feel like, yeah, one of the more popular way to handle it over mechanical.
That makes sense. Any industry that, or at least kind of products that is kind of are creeping into your field of view that you hadn't seen maybe in the last, 5, 10 years, whatever it is. I know you just said batteries. I know those are kind of obviously huge and they're driving up the industry, but any others that you might not have
Oh yeah,
mentioned?
batteries is a really really good one. Yeah, um, especially yeah with electric vehicles. I feel like that is taking off, and there's the actual cell that you have to handle and manufacture. Then you actually have to make the battery pack, and then you have to make the battery module. There's a couple steps in just that one little subset that are pretty interesting for handling. I feel like even as basic as automotive like body press handling is getting different as well as people want quicker changeovers, people want more data. I feel like that's kind of actually that's kind of an every industry want
Mhm.
at this point is just they just want more feedback and more data, more monitoring to tell when it's time to change their part or when something might be amiss.
Yeah. Can you dive into that a little bit so your products obviously, I'm assuming, do have that feedback and they
Yes,
kind of keep the loop closed on when maintenance and maybe even parts picked and all that kind of stuff, right?
absolutely.
For data collection, do you for your products, is it cloud based? Is it how are you collect? What is the the kind of the feedback loop for data collection?
For data collection for our products, you absolutely do need feedback from your system. Everybody wants data. Everybody wants to know what the health is of their vacuum system. So um, we actually, Schmaltz has been doing IOLink for a very long time. At least since I started, I want to say so. It's been probably 10 to 13 years that we've been incorporating IO-Link into our products. So that helps with quick feedback. That helps with being able to tool up your vacuum generators. So the vacuum generators is actually where most of the intelligence is in your vacuum system. And so we've been incorporating IO-Link into those for a while. In the past, probably 5 years now, we've also been doing some Ethernet-based systems into our vacuum generators. So Ethernet IP, EtherCAT, Profinet. So what do you get out of these? So all of our vacuum generators, for the most part, have your vacuum sensor to actually tell you what your vacuum level is in your system. And that in itself is gold, because you can tell if you're reaching the vacuum level that you need, that it was designed for up front, that you don't have like a leak in the system. You can also read if your vacuum level is leaking throughout your cycle. So while you're using the vacuum generator, you can tell how quickly it's leaking. Our units have intelligence to protect it. So there's onboard valves for a lot of these vacuum generators. They actually have valves built in order to you just send it a signal and it makes vacuum, or it doesn't, or it blows off. So usually there's at least 2 valves in each vacuum ejector, and there's intelligence to protect those valves from overheating or overcycling. There's a lot of good feedback built into the vacuum generators.
Awesome. Like you said earlier, everyone wants, data is king, right? It's just everyone wants data. Whatever the data is, just give it to me.
Yes.
Well, as we kind of close things out, are there any other, tidbits or topics that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, one of the more interesting ones, as we're talking about autonomous robots, is just the electrification of things. So yeah, if I were to plug a couple products in, I would talk about.
Yeah, please do.
I would talk about our 24-volt vacuum pump. It's called our GCPI. This is a really neat product, and it's actually kind of perfect for AGVs and AMRs. It's essentially a 24-volt vacuum pump with an onboard computer, with like an onboard VFD, prepackaged in a really nice semi-compact, as compact as we could get it, package that could live inside the cabinet of an AGV or an AMR. And then it's got a couple accessory components to make it really nice. We have like a built-in valve to quickly release your product, to get as fast as a cycle time as you can out of it. And that's also completely electric. You can see a trend here. So I'm interested to see that. I think it's been out about a year and a half, 2 years now. So I'm interested to see where the electrification of vacuum goes myself.
Yeah, that's definitely the trend, right?
Yeah.
Going from just having air to making electric. And I've said this in the past, but anytime I have to go to a trade show and if I don't have to order air for the booth and it's just electric, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Exactly.
So. Any other products you kind of want to point out, or before we close out the show?
I could talk for hours, but I will.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to come back sometime too. This isn't a once and done thing. I will gladly have you come back and talk to us about, anything new and exciting you guys have on the horizon. We'd love to hear from you. And that's another thing to mention. Following Schmaltz and connecting with the company or with you, what's the best way to do that for the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like LinkedIn is a really good source of information for us, as well as our website. LinkedIn, I would lead with our website, honestly. But
yeah,
for
I'm sure your marketing team would love that. So
yes, website, then LinkedIn. And then whatever, if you have a social media preference of choice after that, I think we're on all of them.
Head over to the website, click the social links, follow, interact. Yeah, that's great. I'm sure you guys share lots of good, interesting new products and what keep everyone up to date. And I appreciate your time today, Kyle.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Josh.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you to all the listeners for your time. I want to say, make sure to subscribe to Advanced Automation wherever you get your podcasts. And you can head over to our website, calvaryrobotics.com, check out our blog, check out any of our great downloadables, and watch our series, Calvary TV. So have a great day.